Yeah, hey developers, today we're going to look at Webflow. We're going to look at 3 tips that you can use to create a fast, responsive website using Webflow. And yeah, we'll just jump right into it. Hey, and if you don't know, my name is Eric. I'm a full stack software developer. So if you like videos on technology, web development, frameworks, make sure you click that like button and that subscribe button. That really helps me. So today we are looking at this Webflow, and Webflow basically is a website builder. But it's a lot more than that. In fact, it's a website builder where you can generate clean semantic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which really differentiates itself from the other website builders out there. And so this is a really great tool for developers, designers, and even if you don't know any code, you can still use Webflow and create a really cool website. So that's why I want to show it to you today. And so I'm going to go show you how it works, and we're going to walk through it. I have only spent a little bit of time using this, so I'm going to just walk you through what I see and what I've learned so far. So I might make some mistakes, but I think that's the fun part of learning a new platform. But I could see using this, I've already found a few tips, so I want to share that with you guys. So, of course, you start off with, you go to webflow.com, and you just want to go ahead and click that login button. Now, if you don't have an account, you can click here, don't have an account, and you can either sign in with Google or sign in with your, you can fill out the information, go ahead and sign in. So they do have a absolutely for free account that you can use to try it out, so you don't have to pay, but some of the features some of the more advanced features you do have to pay for. So let me go ahead and log in. So this is what it looks like after you log in. This is the Explore the Showcase view. You'll see a lot of different showcases of different sites and designs that other people have created. We can always click on them. We'll see little animated GIFs. There's some, you can look at the live sites. You can get some information on what they did. So I like this because it kind of gives me a lot of ideas of what you can do with Webflow. But for this video, we're going to start with dashboard. And I already created one project just to kind of play around with it. And what I want to do is create a new project. So I'll click new project here, and it's going to give me some preset defaults. So some of the ones in here are the portfolio starter, the business starter, the store starter, and you kind of learn about it, or you can select it, and it gives you this pre-designed template that you can then edit and make it your own. They have some other templates that you can play for as well, but I'm going to start with the blank one. So I'm going to call Erik YouTube video JavaScript. So site. And I'll just click create project, and then this will take a few seconds and it'll bring us into the editor view. So this is the first tip I want to tell you guys about, is that this editor view has a lot of shortcuts, and I've already opened up, and I'll leave this link in the description too. You can easily navigate this whole editor using these different shortcuts. And a couple that I found handy is, so if you go with here, Webflow, this is the empty body. There's nothing in here. You see here down here at the bottom, it has like this breadcrumb view, and it has this navigator. You hit the plus button here, and you can see the different layouts. One thing you can do, I believe it's Control E on a Windows machine, will bring up a Find Anything. I don't know if it's like Command E on Mac, and you can then just search for what you're looking for. So maybe I want, I don't know, navigation. There's a nav bar right here. So as you get better at using the, all the different elements that are created, you could start using this navigator to quickly add stuff to your page. So this is how it works. Like I said, you had this add, and you have all these different pre-built layouts. You can actually throw a hero section, card section, feature section, put layout elements, basic elements, typography, media, images, videos, YouTube, forms. You can even put like snippets of code in here. So it makes it really easy to start off with if you're just beginning and you need to create an app. It has everything you need to start with. There's also some other things in here. You can open and close the navigator. You can do pages. So let's say I wanted to create, this is obviously just a home page, but I can create folders, but I create a new page. Maybe I want to go and create an about page. Click create. Now I'm on the about page, and I can click that up here and switch back to the home page. So now I'm the home. Let's say I want to add that navigator. So I can either click here at the plus, or I can search for it. And I'll go all the way down to the navigator. Here it is. Here's our nav bar. So we'll go ahead and just copy and paste it, and now we have a nav bar. And you can see here it added it to the navigation, and it added this nav button. and this menu button. So what I want to do just for this video is I created, me and my buddy are just playing around with this new website idea, and I wanted to kind of create some of it, not all of it, using Webflow. So here's the design that I'm looking at doing. I want to create this header at the top, this clean JavaScript header, have some buttons. I want a black background. I'm going to have this JS button, and then we're going to have some text here. And I think that's probably all I'm going to get to today. So we'll see if we can just kind of get the top of the website done and see how that looks. So first, what we need to do is we have this brand. Let's change the links here. So I can just double click on them. So I want clean examples, and this is actually a button, and then resources. And this last one will be about. And this brand is going to probably be a problem. This is great. You see in the right-hand side here. Oh, I can actually change the width of it there. But on the right-hand side here, I have the spacing, the padding. So this is basically the box model right here. So that is tip number 2 I wanted to say. So first is learning some of the keyboard shortcuts, and the second is learning how to use this box model. So we have padding between elements and margin between elements. We can use some of the hotkeys we learned before. So if we can click here in this nav menu, if we wanted to add margin, and I hold down the Alt key, now it's adding margin on the top and bottom. So I can add a bunch of margin there. Or if I just click on one of them, I can either double click and put the amount in there itself, or I can hold down the mouse, but it just does one at a time. But if I hold down Alt, it does both. Now, if I want to do all 4 at the same time, so all 4 of the margins, I can hold Shift, and that'll change all 4 at the same time. And you just put up, you just hold down the left mouse button and scroll up and down, and that'll do all 4. So that's the second tip, kind of combined with the first tip. So with you learning the keyboard shortcuts and then understanding how this box model works. So for right now, I'm going to, I don't know, I want a little bit. Let's do 0. And I'm going to probably give it a little bit of margin up and down. Might play around with that. Now this brand right here, you can see right here, this display, we can change how it runs. So right now, this container, and I have this nav menu, and I can make it flex. And now, see this second button here is a flex layout, but I also can do a grid layout. So if you're familiar with CSS, that's how you do that. And then I can do things like, I can hold down the container here, and I can make this flex. And now I can change things like I can center, that's a vertically aligned, so it all matches up. I can justify in the middle here, or I can justify right. I can space between, and I can, let's say, space around too. One thing I didn't like about this off the top was I couldn't quite get the full width of this container. So one thing I can try to do is I can add a div block. So now I have a div block inside the nav bar. So I'm going to move everything out into the div block. So I'm just kind of playing around here, seeing if I can make it work a little better. Oh, it says links. Nav link can be only placed in a nav bar. So let me make sure this is inside the nav bar. And I'm going to put this inside here in menu. I'm going to delete the container. So now, okay, cool. So now this div block here, I can make it flex layout, and I can do space between. That's actually this brand. I can move it, there we go. So now the brand's on the left-hand side and the links are on the right-hand side. So if I kind of wanted to do, let me go back and make sure I click on the right thing. The div block. Okay, so here's the middle. Here's space between. That's good. So now I could take the div block here, and maybe I wanted to add some padding to it. Or maybe, let's see, I wanted to add in a little margin on all sides. Let's see here. Okay, so I can kind of play around with that. Now, I also want some text right here. So I'm going to do Control E. I'm going to look for text. There's a text block or text area. So I'm going to grab a text block. So now I have a text block next to my brand. So it's actually inside of it. So I kind of want it outside of it. Okay, so probably I want another div inside my div, and I want to keep the brand, the logo, and the text inside of it. Actually, let's do this. Let's delete the brand, and I'm going to bring over another div block, put it inside here, and then I'm going to put the text block inside the div block. There's sections too that I'll show you. So here's the text, and I'm going to put 2 texts inside there, and make the div flex. And the first text block, I actually want to do a little bit of a change here. Instead of putting text in there, I want to put in the JavaScript logo. And I could do that as an image, but there's something really cool. You can do something with Font Awesome. So before I started this video, I actually went to the project settings. So if we look at my project settings, we can look at the fonts, and I went ahead and already uploaded a bunch of Font Awesome fonts. So now we should be able to use that in our project. So if I go back to my YouTube video project, and it'll be open here, I just need to make sure I copy and paste the Unicode glyph, and I'm going to go ahead and change this typography to the FA Brands 400. And now I'm going to copy and paste it in. Cool, now there it is. Now I'm going to go make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. I don't know, 55 pixels. All right, so we have the JavaScript logo, and then, I don't know, we can put clean JavaScript. Maybe that's our tagline. And we can do some things with this too. So this text block, it's an Arial. Maybe I want to change it to, I don't know, Merriweather. I can change the weight to bold. I can, if I hold down the Alt key, I can just change it the size by just holding it down and then moving the cursor up and down the mouse. So cool, now I got clean JavaScript. Now I think that's a little too close to the JavaScript, so I can add a little, I don't know, a little margin to the left I wanted to. All right, so yeah, that looks good. I could also, if I wanted to, no, I think that's pretty good for right now. We'll just have the clean JavaScript. And I don't know, this whole thing feels like this whole block feels like I could probably mess around a little bit with so right now I had it on stretch, so I kind of think I just want it centered, so that looks better. And justify content, I can make it centered here, so that's not gonna really matter. Yeah, so that's good. I like that. Now all these links, what I want to do is you can actually, up here at the top, I can add a class so I can either do all links or I can create a custom class. I can call this, I don't know, nav links. And I can make the nav links a certain size. So maybe I want all my nav links. Let's see here. I can make it. I want to make this 30 pixels. And I can change the color. Let's say maybe I want to make it more white. Let's do a little more. Yeah, let's do a little off-white, right, like that. And then I can add that same class that I just created. So I created this nav links. I can type in nav links. Here it is. And it'll do the same to that one. And nav links to this one too. Cool. So now I have all my nav links. Now I don't really love this background, so I'm going to make sure I click on the div block. Maybe it's on the nav bar. I'm not sure. I can look at the background. It says a background color of this. So I can click on it and just do it transparent. So now it's just the white background. And if I wanted to change the whole white background, maybe I want to change it to closer to a black background. Maybe a little bit off black. Cool. And now we have a problem that these links are a little hard to see. So maybe I go back into the nav links here. And yep, these 3 links right here. I want to change the color of them a little bit. Let's see, color. Oh, that's the background color. Leave it. I can also hit Control Z and undo. There's undo, which is awesome. Let's see here. I actually want to change the text color of nav links. So I have borders, background effects, typography. Here's the color. So this gray color. Let's make it more just white. Okay, now it changed all the links too. So they're all white. And maybe I can do the same thing here with these 2 text blocks. Well, actually, on this text block, I want this one to be white. So I can change the color here to this white color. But this color right here, this JS, I actually want that to be a different color. I want it to be a yellow. And let me see what color I want it to be. I have a hex color. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click colors. I'm going to copy and paste the hex color in. And actually hit the plus button so I can do it everywhere. And I'm going to click, yeah, just call it yellow logo. Call it yellow logo, and I'll click create. Cool. So now we have our JavaScript, clean JavaScript with our clean example resources. And by the way, these are links, so we probably want them to go somewhere. This could be, we could change this to a button, but for now, we'll just leave a link. We click this button right here. You can see I can have it be connected to a page. So maybe this clean, I don't know, maybe this goes to the home page. And this page, this resources goes to the about. And then this, actually, yeah, and this resources goes to, I know we can do about as well. I don't know, you could play around with this, change it. And also we can, if we look up here, we can have this layout here, but you can kind of look at, you can look at the link settings. They're right over here. We can change that. We can open in a new tab if we wanted to. We can even set up like a nav bar if we wanted. Here's different style managers. We can even do some stuff with animations, which we won't look at today, but that's another really neat thing of Webflow is that you can do navigations here. And I believe you can change like the hover state too on the links, which I'm not sure where it is. Oh, here it is. So you hit the down arrow here, you can go to hover. So maybe on hover, I want a different attribute to happen. Maybe the color is, instead of white, it turns into, I don't know, red. So that's on hover. But on none, it's normal. And I can go back here to hover, and I can just have the same thing on that one. So now all hover events on this will act like that. Cool, so now we have this hover red effect on it. Now let's say we need to add another section. So we can plus hero here, we can add a whole hero section, card section. Here's what the hero section is. We can do that right underneath here. And adds like a picture to the right, a hero layout, which, I don't know, I could, once again, maybe I want to change the color of this to a little bit white color. And here is a paragraph of text. Which again, maybe I'll change that color to closer to white. Button text, and then if I had an image, I'd add it here, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I want this hero section here. Maybe I just want to add my own section. So I'm going to do Control E. I'm going to type in section. And I'm going to add my own one in here. And I'm going to add a background. Let's say I wanted to add a background image. So I go images and background. I hit the little plus arrow. And it's going to ask me what kind of image I want. I can choose an image. I'm going to click the upload button. And I have some, I have this image here. I'm going to double click on it. It's uploaded. So now I have this background image. I obviously don't want it to be repeating. So maybe I do want to do cover. I also could change the position if I wanted to. That's fine for me. Linear gradient. So I'll leave it like that. And now I want some text over it. So we can just do a text link. Let's see what else we got here. I got the div block list items, heading. So let's add a header. And I want this to say, let's say I want this to put, let's get to cleaning. And then let's add another header. Let's see here. Oops. You can add another header. Heading. We can add a heading. We can have it H1, H2. Maybe I have an H2 right here that says clean JavaScript. And we'll add that into the section. So we can kind of play around with this. This is a heading 1. Maybe we want this to be a heading 2, and then this one to be heading 1, and we'll copy it. So, and then maybe on this one, we can go ahead and do flex again, and we'll center it. this heading right here, which it's not centering, so let me see why. Oh, here, justify center. There it is. And I'll make a new thing here called heading top headings. Top headings. And I want this top headings to have the color like a little off-white there. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to select a class, the top headings that I just created, which I think I called top headings. Top headings. So maybe I got to do headings here. There it is. So now it's set up. And once again on this one, I'll center it on the top. And I want this clean JavaScript to be quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to go back to my typography. Maybe I'll make it really big. And then I want some more text sections. So I'll add some, I think there's a paragraph. Yep, so there's a paragraph one in here, which I'll add right after here. Maybe I'll add 2 paragraphs. And then I think this heading, I kind of want to wrap this in a div. So I'm going to add a div block here. And I'll have both my headings inside the div block. Clean JavaScript, let's get to cleaning. And inside this div block, I'll change my box model. I'll add some margin to the bottom, give it a little more space. Kind of like that. Also, maybe a little bit space. Oops. Maybe I'll give a little bit more space here too. Yeah, maybe a little bit like this. And the background's a little bit different. I have a completely black background here. So maybe because the picture is a little different color than the background. That's fine. Maybe I want this heading. I can change the margin of this heading. Maybe I can add some padding on all sides. So I'll hit Shift. Actually, not on the heading. I want to do it on this paragraphs. So maybe I want to add some padding to each one of these. So this one, once again, maybe I add another text or div. I'll add another div block. I'll add both paragraphs inside the div block. Cool. And then I'll change the padding inside the div block itself. All right. Kind of like that. And colors on here too. I can mess around with that. Maybe closer to an off-white color. And I probably want to save this color as something that I can share between everything, all the elements, but that's fine. All right, yeah, let's change the background. I'm gonna go back to the body. Look at the background color. Maybe I just go pure black. Sweet. Nice. So I'm gonna make this div block. I'm gonna add some margin to the bottom, just so I can see the whole picture. See, let's add it to the section. Maybe I'll do it to the section. Oh, probably it's not letting me do it because of the width of it. Yeah, I can play around with some of the widths and heights. So I have auto. Let's see, if I go to the section here, the width is auto. I don't know if I put that. Wonder if I put 600 pixels, what would happen? Oh, that's the width, of course. Let's change that. Let's Control Z that. Go back to auto. I think you just type in auto. Let's say about height. I don't know, 600 pixels in height is what I'm trying to think of. Okay. I don't know. Doesn't look too bad. So you can see here, you could definitely be playing around with this, messing around with the picture, the image, the background. You know, this is about just a little bit of time, I was able to create all of this. And now if I want to look at it, I can actually export it. So I can either share it, I can publish it. So let's publish to a selected domain and see what it looks like. Publish successful. So I can look at it. So I just need to click this button here, and here it is. Oops, says translate. Not gonna worry about that. Oh, it's because it's lorem ipsum right here. You see here's resources. My resources page, I never put anything in the about. Just going to the about, so the links are working. And yeah, here it is. Now, one nice thing too, the third tip I wanted to show you guys is this actually creates HTML and CSS. And if we look at right here, this export code. So this is the export code page, and this gives us just an idea of the code that it created. But let's click the prepare zip button and see if we can look at the code inside our code editor to get an idea of what it looks like. So this will just take a second. And you can see from here, it has this zip file and it has our CSS, fonts, images, and JavaScript. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this onto my computer and open it up in my Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I have the zip opened up here in Visual Studio Code, and I thought I'd just walk you through it and see what type of code it created. And it exported out from Webflow. So if you look at the index.html, it looks pretty good. I mean, it has the doc type, has the HTML tag. I went ahead and just saved this off camera a second ago, so it formatted it so we can see it a little bit more clearly on the screen here. But you can see it has the head tag, meta tags, title tags that we would expect. Links to our different CSSs. We'll take a look at the CSS in a second. Has this web font load for different fonts that we had defaulted in here. And has our five icon. Now, as for the divs, when we get into the meat of the app, I didn't actually explicitly add the name of different classes. I've only added a few. So we have this div dash block, but that's fine for me. Has this clean JavaScript text that I put in here. Text block 2 has this nav links. We did add this class in here. I mean, these are just very simple. It has nav, so it uses our navigation as we expected. And then we added different sections. So we have a class of each section here. We have this clean JavaScript. We have this heading or top headings where we're doing different look and feels of it. Our lorem ipsum, our paragraph tags. I mean, this looks like a page that I could see myself creating. Very simple page. It even includes jQuery in here, I guess for some of the changes we had in there. So yeah, so that all looks fine. If we look at the about page, I really didn't add anything to this, so this is kind of just an empty page. There's nothing in between the body tags. But if I wanted to use this, it created the title about. If I look in the fonts, it included all the Font Awesome fonts that I expected, so that's nice. If I look at the CSS, it added normalize, which is great. Uses some custom Webflow CSS in here that is fine. Some like clear fixes and some other things. Here is, if you look at the Erik YouTube video JavaScript Webflow CSS, this is basically the stuff I added in. You can see I used flex everywhere, did display flex, justify content, uses the different prefixes for different browsers, the nav menu with the different borders, the margin top and bottom, the container classes. Once again, I used flex. And now some of the classes I didn't name, it uses div block 1, div block 2. You see I used Font Awesome, so that seems to be working. The nav links. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this looks pretty good. I mean, it lives up to the name. It exported clean JavaScript, semantic JavaScript and CSS and HTML. Semantic HTML and CSS, that is. So, I mean, it looks great. I mean, I don't have any problems with it. If I bring over here and just open the index.html, it loaded up fine. I mean, here's just loading it directly from the link from the index.html from my hard drive. So, I mean, everything loaded correctly. It looks like the pages, I didn't have anything in the about, but if there was, it would have gone to the right page there. Don't worry about this translates just because I'm using lorem ipsum and Chrome gets confused. If I had resources, obviously that would work. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks pretty much like the exported one here too. It looks exactly the same. So I think that's all I'm going to show you guys today. So this is Webflow, and I would just keep those 3 tips in mind. Use the keyboard shortcuts. Make sure you understand this box model because you have margins on the outside and padding in the inside, and how to use the hotkeys with it. And then the 3rd tip would be to export them out. So I just barely touched the surface of this, but I mean, I created, a pretty simple website in just a few minutes, so it didn't take long at all. And I have a lot of options here. I could also change the fonts. Look, I'm changing the whole fonts on the whole site right now because I clicked on the body, so it inherits correctly. So maybe I wanted everything to be in, Varela. So now in just a few seconds there, I create everything in Varela. And I could definitely see how a designer could go through this and create a website really, really quickly and just give the HTML and CSS to the developer, who can then just pop it into their site. I want to know what you guys think of Webflow. Leave a comment below. I really appreciate it. Thanks.